Today, we're doing a countdown, but it's definitely not a fun one. We usually think of history as this grand timeline of powerful kings, sweeping empires, and monumental wars, right? Well, there's a much darker shadow side to those stories, a side quite literally defined by unimaginable cruelty. We're going to dive deep into the actual mechanics of historical punishments today. Look, it's a tough topic, for sure, but understanding this stuff is absolutely crucial if we want to grasp the full, unfiltered picture of our past.
Let's not start with the worst. Let's ease into it. I want you to put yourself in that position for just a second. As we walk through this history together, try to imagine the sheer claustrophobia of these methods. We're going to ease into our countdown, taking a calm, clinical look at exactly how these horrific systems were designed.
And honestly, the reason we have to ease into it, it's because what you're about to hear, well, it only gets darker. The tension in this explainer is going to relentlessly escalate. We're moving step by step, counting down to the absolute ultimate historical nightmare.
Chapter 2, Breaking the Body. We're starting with punishments focused entirely on physical destruction.
Coming in at number 10, we have the rat dungeon. Okay, imagine this. You're chained to a damp stone wall. You're in total darkness, literally no light whatsoever, and absolutely zero sense of time. But then, you hear a sound, a little scratching. At first it's just one, but then it multiplies into dozens, then hundreds. See, this dungeon sits below river level, so when the river waters rise, hundreds of hungry, panicked, and highly aggressive rats just flood into your cell. You can't even see them, you can only feel them. Small bites rapidly turn into hundreds of bites. You'd fight, obviously. You'd scream, try to shake them off, but eventually your body just gives up. And the terrifying part? When you finally pass out, the rats don't stop.
Moving on to number 9, we have the rack. Picture the silhouette of this massive stretching device. Your wrists and your ankles are tied down tight with heavy ropes. And then a torturer steps up and slowly turns this giant mechanism. Your entire body is being painfully, steadily just pulled apart.
Every single turn of that wheel, every single click of that mechanism pulls your body just a little further apart. Your joints are straining under this immense pressure until eventually your muscles actually physically tear.
Now, think about the twisted psychology behind a device like this. The official's stated goal of the rack was to extract a confession. But the reality? The physical pain of your joints literally tearing was so unbelievably severe that the truth completely ceased to matter. Victims would say absolutely anything just to make that clicking stop. They didn't actually care about the truth. They just wanted answers.
All right, for number 8 on our countdown, we're heading out to sea with keel hauling. This was a brutal naval punishment. You're tied to a heavy rope and just thrown overboard into the freezing ocean. But it doesn't end there. You're then dragged entirely underneath the full length of the ship. Down there in the dark water, the hull is coated in sharp, jagged barnacles. They scrape and slice into your skin like hundreds of tiny blades, just over and over again. You're drowning, you're bleeding, and you're breaking all at once. And the absolute most messed up part, if you somehow survived all that, it really just meant you had to suffer longer. Reaching number 7, we have execution by elephant. Now, when you think of an animal attack, you probably think of pure chaos, right? But what's crucial to understand here is that this was not random. Being crushed by elephants was a deliberate, slow, and highly controlled nightmare. You're tied down, completely helpless, while a massive, highly trained elephant steps forward. It's guided by a handler giving precise commands. Sometimes they make it quick, but other times, it was agonizingly slow, with the animal actually commanded to crush the victim, limb by limb.
Chapter 3, Weaponizing Nature. These were truly instruments of agony. Coming in at number 6 is impalement. A sharpened stake is driven into the ground, but the terrifying engineering here is that the victim is forced onto it in a way that's carefully positioned specifically not to kill them instantly. That was the entire point, to prolong the agony. The suffering could last for hours, sometimes even days, and when it finally ended, your body just remained displayed right there on the stake. It was this very public, unbelievably gruesome warning to everyone else.
Let's move to number 5, an ancient Roman punishment called pona culae. Here's how it worked. Step 1, you're placed inside a leather sack. Step 2, live animals are added into the bag right in there with you. Step 3, the bag is sealed completely tight and thrown into a body of water. Down inside that dark bag, there is nothing but absolute panic, chaos, and a rapid lack of oxygen. There is literally no escape.
And what exactly was in the bag with you? A dog, a snake, a monkey, and a rooster.
I mean, think about the systematic bizarreness of this ancient punishment. It wasn't just about drowning someone, it was about forcing the victim to drown inside a chaotic, fighting mass of terrified animals. It's a truly chilling weaponization of nature.
For number 4, we have rat torture. Imagine you're strapped down and a container is placed bare onto your stomach. Inside that container is a single live rat. Then the executioner starts applying intense fire and heat to the top of the container.
The rat obviously panics. It desperately needs to escape that insane heat, but there is only one way out: through you. The rat, in its frantic, terrified state, begins to literally dig directly through the victim's flesh and organs to escape the burning fire. And it simply does not stop.
Chapter 4. Left to rot. We're shifting now to prolonged public agony.
At number 3 is gibbeting. You are locked inside a heavy metal cage that's actually shaped exactly like your human body. This cage is then hung up in a very public place. People walk by every single day. Some stop to watch you, most just ignore you. You just hang there, slowly dying of exposure, thirst, and starvation over a terribly long period. And the horror is that when you finally do die, you stay there, left to hang for years, literally just rotting away in public view.
Number 2 brings us to scaphism. You're trapped securely inside a boat. You're then force-fed a huge mixture of milk and honey, and then that same sweet mixture is thickly smeared all over your exposed skin. You're then pushed out onto a stagnant body of water and left directly under the blazing, relentless hot sun.
Now let's see how this builds, because it's horrifying. Because of all that sweet milk and honey, the insects arrive. First the flies, then come the bees and the wasps. They swarm you and they start to feed on you. But somehow it actually gets worse. They lay their eggs inside your flesh, and they never leave. It is this inescapable, crawling torment that literally feeds on the victim, and it repeats day after brutal day.
Chapter 5. The ultimate isolation. We've reached the final descent.
Coming in at number 1, the absolute worst of the worst, the oubliette. The word itself actually comes from French, meaning to forget. Now, this isn't some complex torture device with moving parts. It is a deep, bottle-shaped, pitch-dark pit. You are dropped in. There's no light. There is absolutely no exit. There is no sound. No one comes to check on you. Literally no one even remembers you're down there. The psychological devastation is total. And you know the most chilling detail? Sometimes you'd realize you weren't alone in the pitch black, because the bones of the very last person thrown down there were never removed.
Chapter 6. When no one stops it. Because remember, these weren't myths. They were entirely real.
So, what is the big takeaway from this explainer? Really, it's a sobering reflection on human nature itself. How far can cruelty go when no one stops it? It's a pretty terrifying reminder of exactly what can happen when empathy is completely removed from our systems of justice.